Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we try to figure out if this company is secretly juggling flaming chainsaws while reporting its quarterly earnings. Let's dive in. We've got a report here from TEGNA Incorporated, and while it might look like just another dry corporate document, it actually spills some juicy beans about a major deal they're involved in. Think big companies merging, government watchdogs, and a whole lot of waiting. So TEGNA is a company, and they're in the process of being bought by another company called Nexstar Media Group. It is basically a merger, which means one company is going to swallow the other whole. TEGNA will become a part of Nexstar. Now, deals like this, especially big ones involving media companies which can have public interest implications, need a whole lot of approvals. The government, specifically the US Department of Justice, the DOJ and the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, are looking into this merger. They want to make sure it is not going to hurt competition or the public. Usually, they give a thumbs up or a thumbs down within a certain time frame, but here, the DOJ has said, hold on a second, we need more information. This is called issuing a second request, and it basically hits the pause button on the review. It means the DOT believes this deal needs a more thorough look. This second request is a pretty big deal because it pushes back how long the TEGNA and Nexstar guys have to wait for the final green light on their merger. The clock on that waiting period is now reset, and it won't start ticking down again until they've given the DOJ everything they've asked for. This also means the companies have to be extra careful and transparent, providing any documents or details the DOJ points to. They'll keep working with the DOJ staff to answer their questions. So what does this mean for the timeline? Well, the companies thought this would be done sooner, but now they're saying it is likely going to happen in the latter half of 2026. That is a significant delay, and it shows that regulatory scrutiny can really throw a wrench in these kinds of deals. It is not just a simple handshake and it's done. There are layers of government approval involved. Even with all this happening, the deal isn't a done deal yet. They still need to get past this HSR Act waiting period, which is a set of rules under a law called the Hart-Scott-Rodino Antitrust Improvements Act. They also need to satisfy all the other conditions laid out in their merger agreement, which are essentially the terms and requirements that must be met for the deal to go through. Think of it like a checklist that needs to be fully ticked off. When companies are bought or sell off significant parts of their business, they have to tell their shareholders everything. TEGNA has filed a bunch of documents with the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, and one of the most important recent ones is their proxy statement, which lets shareholders know about the proposed merger and how they should vote. They're telling their shareholders to read all these documents carefully because they contain critical information about the deal. It is like the company saying, hey, we want you to be informed, so please do your homework before you decide how to vote your shares on this big change. And for any TEGNA shareholders out there, you can get all these documents for free from the Sexies website. They're also available directly from TEGNA if you ask them or check their investor relations website. It is all about transparency and making sure everyone who has a stake in the company knows what is going on. This section is about who is actually doing the soliciting, meaning who is trying to convince shareholders to vote a certain way on the merger. It lists TEGNA, leaders like directors and top executives, and says they might be considered participants in trying to get the merger approved. It points to their previous filings to show where you can find information about these people and their potential interest in ensuring this deal goes through, which is important because people in charge might have personal reasons for wanting a deal to succeed. This is a really important part of almost every corporate filing. It is essentially a legal disclaimer warning everyone that not everything in the report is a fact that has already happened. Many statements are about the future, like what they expect to happen with the merger or their business. These are called forward-looking statements, and they come with a big warning. Things might not turn out the way they expect. They list a bunch of potential problems that could mess up their plans. This includes getting those government approvals, which we already know is hitting a snag. It also covers the risk that the merger announcement itself could hurt the stock price. Other worries include losing key employees, disruption to their business relationships with customers and suppliers, the possibility that the merger agreement could be cancelled for some reason, and even things like cyber attacks. It is a long list of what ifs that could go wrong. Basically, they're saying, don't bet your life savings on our predictions. These future statements are based on assumptions, and many things can change in the business world. They aren't promising anything will happen exactly as they say, and they don't have to update these statements if things change. It is a way for them to protect themselves from lawsuits if their future plans don't pan out. And finally, the report is signed off by Alex Tolston, who is the Senior Vice President and Chief Legal Officer. That is the person who, in essence, is putting their name on the line to say that this report is accurate to the best of their knowledge. It's a formal way to close out the document. So, what is the big story here? TEGNA is being acquired by Nexstar. and that deal is facing a significant hurdle with regulators. The DOJ wants more time and information to review the antitrust implications. This delay means the merger is now expected in late 2026, pushing back the timeline considerably. For shareholders, it is crucial to stay informed through the SEC filings and understand the risks involved. As explicitly stated in their cautionary statements, the company itself is being transparent about the potential roadblocks, which is a good sign, but it does inject a level of uncertainty into the deal's completion. In my opinion, this delay isn't necessarily a death knell for the merger, but it does signal that the DOJ is taking a hard look at media consolidation. Companies in this sector are always scrutinized, and TEGNA and Nexstar will need to work diligently to satisfy the DOJ's concerns. The biggest risks here are continued regulatory roadblocks, potential negative impacts on stock price due to the extended uncertainty, and the operational disruptions that come with a prolonged merger process. The opportunity, of course, is the potential for a stronger, combined entity if the merger eventually goes through, but that is a big if right now. My conclusion is that investors should be watching the regulatory developments very closely. This isn't just about numbers, it is about governmental approval, and that can be a complex and lengthy process. Keep an eye on those HSR Act waiting periods and any further statements from the DOJ. Alright, that is our breakdown of TEGNA's latest filing. What is your take on these developments and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments if this analysis was valuable. Hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching, see you next time.